William Clark Green's hit song She Likes the Beatles has over 40 million streams on Spotify.
She likes the Beatles, and I like the Stones. She likes romantic movies.
And I always love listening to that song when it comes across my Spotify stream. I've probably heard it over 100 times. And the real shame of listening to music in this modern day and age of streaming is how often you will hear a hit song like this, appreciate it, but you'll never dig any deeper into that person. That just goes to show how short our attention spans are these days. So come with me on a journey of discovery as I dive deeper into the life and success of a very popular Texas country music artist who, as of February 2026, has another #1 hit album on the Texas country music chart. My name is Sasquatch, and you're watching Unheard History. William Clark Green was born in 1986 in the East Texas town of Flint. And according to him, he had a very normal, typical West Texas childhood. Riding bicycles, riding four-wheelers without helmets, playing paintball, you name it, the kid was in it. At the age of 12, Clark's family would move from there to College Station, Texas, where he would begin taking guitar lessons at church.
Yeah. As soon as I learned how to play guitar, I learned how to play at free church lessons at St. Mary's. Right across the street from the chicken, like the Methodist church or that Robert O'Keefe talks about. It's like a Presbyterian church. The one right next to it's a Catholic church, and that's where I learned how to play guitar on Church Street in College Station, right behind the Dixie Chicken. And yeah, it's just always something I did, and then I never really thought it would turn into a career. I never thought it was possible. And then it just kind of fell into place, honestly.
Originally drawn to hard rock, Green's life would change when his father played him the 1972 self-titled album by Willis Allen Ramsey.
And there was a spider John the robber man, long, tall, and handsome.
And Green was pretty much instantly hooked on this. And he was also inspired by other popular Texas artists, Guy Clark, Robert Earl Keen, Chris Knight, and Pat Green, amongst others. But, like many teenagers, Green developed a bit of a rebellious streak. Eventually, his parents would decide to send him off to work with distant relatives on a ranch near the Brazos River.
You alone, Jimmy? I'll take that as a yes.
And according to Green, what should have been a punishment wound up being a form of redemption. He found enjoyment in the brutal work of a cowboy. Life was full of no AC, lots of heat, humidity, and mosquitoes. And he says that he eventually grew to really enjoy traveling to that ranch for work every summer. William would go on to work other tough jobs in his life, one of which was attempting to be a cowboy and working at a feedlot, where according to him, the work was tough and unrewarding. Shoveling miles of wet grain out of bins, so much so that the shovel became polished like a mirror.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
Green decided that this life wasn't for him, and he made the decision to go to college. And as somebody whose first job was working at a horse stable cleaning stalls day in and day out, I feel you, bro. I get it.
How are you gonna get out of here?
We'll dig our way out.
Green would graduate high school in 2004 and go on to attend college in Lubbock at Texas Tech University, where he would work towards a degree in agricultural economics, that's a mouthful, which he would eventually learn 6 years later.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
And you might ask yourself, why is that? Why did it take 6.5 years for him to earn his degree? That's because he fell in love with music during this time. And if you don't know, Lubbock, Texas is a breeding ground for musicians. Artists such as Buddy Holly, Waylon Jennings, who originally played bass for Buddy Holly, if you didn't know that also, Mac Davis, who wrote music for Elvis and played with him, Pat Green, and the Josh Abbott Band. And while he worked around his college classes, he really picked up any gig he could. Paying or not, hotel bars, open mics, smoke-filled rooms filled with rowdy cowboys and even rowdier college kids. It was during this time that Green figured out that music validated him and that he enjoyed that feeling. This attitude would go on to help him develop who he was as a musician and a songwriter. He would go on to keep dabbling with songwriting until he actually put together an album called Dangerous Man in 2008. This album winds up being a coming of age, so to speak, for Green. And it helped him establish himself in larger venues like the famous Blue Light in Lubbock. William would go on to get a weekly residency at the Blue Light, building his musicianship and songwriting abilities. And in 2010, he would go on to release a second album called Misunderstood.
We're working on a website right now. We got the MySpace up and running. Everything's everything's in works right now. It's just, the new record, and we're blowing all this money on
next
it's
step,
new
man.
stuff. Yeah, and so we're really excited, and it's turning over a new leaf.
The second self-released album would grow on the coming-of-age premise, but showcased him as a little bit more confident and well-rounded songwriter. Leaving Texas for Nashville, Green found major success with his third album, The Rose Queen. This was inspired by the annual Texas Rose Festival in Tyler, Texas.
Been outside of Tyler, Texas, which is where they have the Rose Festival. And growing up, my dad always said, don't go dating the Rose Queen because you can't afford her, because it's a very upscaled festival.
This album really showcased Green's voice and his well-rounded songwriting abilities.
But I couldn't resist to steal a kiss from the Rose Queen.
And as I said at the beginning of the video, the song She Likes the Beatles would really put him on the map. The song about opposites attracting was an instant hit with everybody, including myself. And it was during this time after the album release that his cowboy work ethic kicked in and he toured relentlessly. William lived by the mantra of the grind, eating up the highway miles with his band and earning every fan along the way.
At that point in your life, you're 23, 24, and all your buddies are graduating and getting these jobs paying $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you can make, and you got to go eat shit for 8 more years. I didn't make money until I was 29 years old.
And I think you said the first 4 years were the worst.
The first 4 were awful. I lived in my truck, and my parent, I did not ask for any help, and my mom was willing to, but I was stubborn about it. I wanted to do it on my own. I lived in my damn truck with my dog. It was a blue heeler, and he was gassy.
And that grind would continue until 2014 when he began working on his 4th album. Inspired by the town of Eastland, Texas and its historic lore that the lake there was where the Ringling Circus used to stay for the winter. The title track, Ringling Road, was co-written with Ross Cooper and Randall Clay, a former circus roustabout. Green really wanted to capture a circus freak show atmosphere, and it's pretty good. I took a listen.
Everybody knows the greatest party on earth is the circus down on Ringling Road.
And Green has remarked that this album brought along with it an experience and maturity that he felt his previous albums lacked. And in 2015, while his new album hit number 18 on the Billboard country music charts, Green hit the road again with his relentless, incredible work ethic. And for the next few years, the road was his home. Green and his crew burned up the highway miles and stages, touring and increasing his success as he went on. The band's high-energy performances are legendary and a true testament as to why his fans love him.
You're the next big thing, say me. Oh, it's hard to pay your dues when there ain't no money.
In April of 2018, Green would help launch Cottonfest at Cook's Garage in Lubbock, Texas. The now annual festival was designed to help raise money for the High Cotton Relief Fund.
We're called High Cotton Relief. We add relief to farmers and ranchers who are in their direst needs. So we don't solve problems. We don't pay hospital bills. But there was a family from Lubbock who was in Houston for a year. Their daughter had reconstructive surgery, and we just got them a nice hotel room every night for 365 days.
Wow.
So we got them a nice hotel room at the Hyatt every night and paid their travel back and forth from Lubbock, and we paid that for 365 days.
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff we do. Like, we add relief to really terrible situations, but we don't solve problems. We just add relief. That's kind of like our motto.
Yeah.
So we pay a lot of funerals. We pay a lot of funerals, but we don't pay any medical bills. We pay a lot of diesel bills, especially for volunteer fire departments and stuff like that when fires happen. And so that's kind of our main deal. It's like we add a little bit of, take a little bit of load off.
It just goes to show how much work ethic and care that Green puts into the local community as he goes on. His 5th album, Herbert Island, was inspired by the family land, which was elevated above sort of a marsh or a swamp. When the floods came in and the land got flooded, it resembled an island standing in the middle of a swamp.
City folk, they don't know, 'cause they don't know how to
Green would find solace in using this as a theme and writing songs that he actually liked and wanted to hear himself. This album would further go on to reflect the maturity he was developing as a songwriter and as a person.
The main big change on this record is I wanted vocals way front and I wanted huge harmonies. And that was the biggest thing I want on this record. This is the first time I've written songs, and then I normally just throw them in the trash if I don't like them. I'm like, I give up on them, you know? But this is the first time I really fought for songs, and I wouldn't take no for an answer.
This album would capture the western Louisiana, East Texas region where he would kind of, according to him, pretend to play Cajun. And then in 2020, something would happen that shocked both us and William Clark Green. And these rumors would really come to fruition suddenly and hit all of us very unexpectedly.
Chinese health authorities are still working to identify the virus behind a pneumonia outbreak in the central city of Wuhan.
At least 59 people are believed to have been sickened by the new virus.
Tonight, U.S. airports on high alert, screening passengers for symptoms.
Green was actually in New York City during this time, fixing to perform at a show when the first lockdowns hit. COVID-19 was in the U.S. and it was here to stay for a while. First, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then it became months, and then the better part of a year. And like others, he found himself at home, really pontificating life. And as with many other entertainers, Green found himself grounded and at home. He was unable to perform live and totally at the mercy of both local, state, and federal authorities. But this time away from the road allowed him to relax some and really take stock of life. And he said during that time he had a lot of time to think about life and what's actually locking him down personally. This period of self-isolation and reflection would become the catalyst to his 2022 album, Baker Hotel.
All Pot, No Chicken. I've dove into that album a little bit since last time. I love that song.
It's such a good song. And I loved your explanation on the live album about, like, I was in COVID and this was my kind of like screw you to the government kind of song.
I don't like talk to politics. Yeah. That song's about as close as I get. It'll be the last time. It'll be the last time I shut my business down. I think everyone has very big, heavy opinions on that whole deal, but it went on way too long, and a lot of people lost their livelihoods because of it, and it's a shame. So I don't know.
He also noted that being on the forced break really changed his perspective on his 15-year career. The Baker Hotel album draws inspiration from the formerly abandoned Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas. He was fascinated by the stories of people breaking into the hotel and the local rumors of it being haunted. And unlike other albums where he wrote most of the music himself before bringing it to others, he immediately brought in fellow co-artists Ross Cooper, Zane Williams, and Drew Kennedy. As COVID restrictions lifted, Green's primary focus was returning to live performances and maintaining his independence as an artist. Being independent, Green says, suits him just fine, even if his music and his business choices alienate some fans and others in the industry. I don't want anybody telling me what to do and how to do it, he says, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And that is one of the reasons that the more I learn about the guy, the more I actually like him. He's unapologetic in a phony apologetic world. Which leads us to his future success in 2026 with his upcoming release of the new album Waterson Hall. His new single, Where the Wild Things Are, hit #1 on the Texas country music charts in February of 2026.
You just robbed the bank and now you're running from the law. Save the princess.
And the people, as always, are ready for more. In addition to his own tours, William Clark Green, along with other major acts, formed the Texas supergroup, the Panhandlers, and wrote the hit West Texas in My Eye.
Lately I've been thinking I could leave this town.
This currently has more than 33 million streams on Spotify as of today. Green's hard work and talent know only the bounds of his own imagination and whim. After taking the time to do a deep dive and research him, he really holds a fond place in my heart. He's got an incredible work ethic. He learns and masters his craft as he goes. And he combines that all with an I don't give a shit attitude, which I think is completely genuine in a disingenuous world. It's safe to say I'm going to continue diving into all of his albums and whatever future music he releases, and I hope that I can see him live sometime soon. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on this deep dive while I learned about William Clark Green. And tell me what you think down in the comments. What's your favorite William Clark Green song? What's your favorite deep cut? What artist would you like to see me do another deep dive on next? Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you, and I'll see you next time.